Welcome to Conversations on Modern Slavery, a new podcast produced by Free the Slaves. Conversations on Modern Slavery explores the complexity of modern slavery across the world, looking at its drivers, its manifestations, and its consequences. Featuring discussions about the latest research conducted by Free the Slaves and dialogues with eminent experts and frontline practitioners. This podcast seeks to amplify public awareness and galvanize action around modern slavery, providing insights into the root causes, reasons for hope, and pioneering solutions. Conversations on Modern Slavery is a must-listen for everyone passionate about eradicating modern slavery. My name is Bryon Lippincott. I'm the head of communications at Free the Slaves, and I will be co-hosting this podcast with my colleague, Dr. Marta Furlan, who manages our research program here at Free the Slaves. My areas of interest and expertise are digital communications, communication ethics, and the effects of media and communications on the perception of human value. I hold an MA in Strategic Communications and am currently pursuing a PhD in Peace and Conflict Studies.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Marta Furlan, and as Bryon said, I'm the Research Program Officer at Free the Slaves. In the organization, I am responsible for designing, implementing, and disseminating all the research projects that Free the Slaves conducts. My areas of expertise include human rights protection, armed groups, and civil conflict. I hold a PhD in International Relations from the University of St Andrews in the UK, where I wrote my dissertation on armed groups, governance, practices, and impact on civilians in Yemen, Syria, and Iraq. As Bryon said, part of our episodes in Conversations on Modern Slavery will be devoted to discussing the latest research conducted by Free the Slaves. When presenting Free the Slaves research projects, we want to emphasize those characteristics that make our research stand out: participatory, community-centered, impact-oriented, context-specific, and ethical. We want to approach the podcast as a platform to communicate our findings and their contribution to a better understanding of modern slavery and its complex manifestations. We also want to approach the podcast as the space where to discuss the evidence-based recommendations presented in our research and their potential for impact and change. Lastly, we want to give voice to those communities and individuals who are at the center of our research projects, bringing their experiences, their stories, and their perspectives to the fore.
Free the Slaves also produces and hosts the Freedom from Slavery Forum, which gathers many leading thinkers and innovators from the anti-modern slavery movement to share their knowledge and stimulate discussion. We will be sharing some of the most engaging keynote addresses and panel discussions from these forums in future episodes. We will also be conducting interviews and discussions with Free the Slaves staff, partners, and experts in the field that expand our understanding of modern slavery, the conditions that allow it to persist, and the strategies that are working to address the problem. As we conclude this first episode of the podcast, we want to introduce Free the Slaves, our history, and our strategic approach to ending the conditions that allow modern slavery to persist. Free the Slaves was founded in 2000, and today we are considered a leader and pioneer in the modern abolitionist movement. We have helped awaken the world to the fact that slavery still exists, why it does, and where it's worst. We've developed a global blueprint for change to inform governments, international institutions, businesses, and the public about what they can do. We're implementing our community-based strategy in strategically selected communities. Our groundbreaking research and rigorous evaluation informs our policy advocacy to strengthen anti-slavery laws and rid slavery from manufacturing supply chains and business practices. Free the Slaves is making strategic investments into 4 key objective areas.
One of the pillars through which Free the Slaves conducts its work within the anti-slavery movement is policy and advocacy. A critical challenge in eradicating modern-day slavery lies in government policies and the success of their implementation and enforcement. Inadequate or misaligned policies and ineffective implementation can perpetuate the conditions that allow slavery to thrive. Therefore, at Free the Slaves, we are actively involved in influencing governments to adopt transformative policy changes and invest in effective implementation of programs and services in alignment with those policies. Through deep relationships, evidence-backed framework creation, and strategic partnerships, we strive to reform laws and regulations at the international, national, and local levels. This includes our leadership role within Alliance 8.7, a United Nations program focused on eradicating forced labor, modern slavery, human trafficking, and child labor. In addition to this, we work closely with US-based partners who have direct channels to the US Congress and executive branch agencies. By transforming the very legal and structural framework that allows human trafficking to exist, we create an increasingly hostile environment for traffickers and a safer world for potential victims.
The second pillar of our work is engaging with local communities. One of the most susceptible targets for human trafficking are local communities that lack the necessary education and resources and access points to social services that allow them to effectively resist human trafficking and protect their members. Recognizing this, our approach is centered around community engagement. We provide essential training and resources and mobilize communities to demand recognition of their human and labor rights and access social service structures that reduce their vulnerabilities to the deception, manipulation, and threats of traffickers. By equipping them with the tools to protect themselves and reducing the social, economic, and political isolation of marginalized communities, we pave the way for grassroots resistance against slavery. The engagement of local communities creates a ripple effect, resulting in a nation and a region that's inherently more resistant to human trafficking.
The third pillar of our work is movement building. In a field where resources are limited, isolated efforts can quickly exhaust available resources and hamper the efficacy of anti-trafficking initiatives. Free the Slaves focuses on movement building to mitigate this issue. Our Freedom from Slavery Forum acts as a catalyst for collaboration, knowledge sharing, and collective action within the broader anti-slavery and anti-trafficking movement. Leveraging strong affiliations with a myriad of human rights, social justice, and international organizations, we foster a collective approach to confront the root causes of trafficking and slavery. Furthermore, we create and support survivor networks, offering those with first-hand experience a platform to influence future strategies and provide feedback on the effectiveness of current efforts. The combined impact of these efforts is extraordinarily impactful. As we build a stronger and more cohesive movement, we optimize the use of available resources and significantly increase our chances of success.
The last pillar of our strategy is continuous learning. The landscape of human trafficking is constantly changing, posing a risk that existing anti-slavery measures may become outdated. In recognition of this, Free the Slaves cultivates a culture of continuous learning and actively invests in specialized research projects to refine our approaches. For example, we have delved into the connection between human trafficking and climate change in local communities in the Philippines, gaining insights into how environmental factors heighten vulnerabilities to trafficking. Similarly, our work in Peru focuses on understanding the complexities of modern slavery within indigenous communities. Through these projects, we maintain open channels of communication with survivors and research institutions, ensuring that our strategies remain both current and effective. This ongoing research, combined with insights from lived experience experts, positions us to better anticipate and tackle future challenges, making our fight against slavery more proactive and less reactive.
We really hope that you will join us in conversations on modern slavery, and we are very much looking forward to hosting you on our next episodes.
Thank you for listening, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.